I'll stop now because you're asking me quite aggressive questions.
Well, I think
and
the
I
whole
didn't ask to be interviewed. This is an interview done against my approval.
the vaccination is also the vaccine.
If this interview
People are force vaccinated. Do you think that's okay? That's against their will, and that's WHO pushed the vaccine.
I have never called for forced vaccination myself.
I am here at the World Health Organization headquarters. I came here because during the entire week where the elites were meeting in Davos, well, the meeting behind us were planning the future of our lives to dictate to us what the next pandemic will look like. As you know, I did meet Mr. Nabarro, who is one of the people responsible for the policies the WHO implemented for COVID-19.
You know, I would be very happy to be interviewed normally about this.
Can I get a card?
To be ambushed. I don't have any cards left.
David, where can I catch you to continue this interview?
Let me just write it down.
As promised, I did email Mr. Nabarro several times, and I'm even here willing to interview him, but imagine my shock when I haven't heard anything back. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the so-called ambush of Mr. Nabarro in Davos. Hello, sir. You're from the WHO, the special envoy for COVID?
I'm just going to a meeting, actually. It's nice of you to talk to me. I'm not doing that other thing at the moment, COVID at the moment. I'm just walking to a meeting about food.
But I guess you're at the WEF, you're an invite.
Sorry?
You're invited to the forum?
Yes, but I'm certainly invited to the forum, yeah. Yeah, you can see my badge.
Yeah, so why do you think this year it's about they're talking about the fact that they're regaining trust? Do you think it has anything to do with the WHO?
I mean, for me, trust has been difficult to maintain with COVID, but you'll have to tell me who you're reporting for.
Rebel News.
Sorry?
Rebel News. Why do you think people don't trust? It's been hard to maintain trust through COVID.
Because COVID's affected poor people everywhere really badly.
So why do so many people blame your organisation, the WHO?
People like to find somebody to blame.
Was lockdowns ever a good idea?
Well, lockdowns are part of the response, but we say there are things that you can do before you lock down that reduce the degree of problem. So we've always said lockdown is the last resort. And of course we worry if we think some countries...
Do you think Australia locked down too much?
Too early. What?
Do you think Victoria, do you think in Australia they had the largest, harshest lockdown? Do you think that they locked down too much and they were too severe?
I do not like commenting on decisions of individual governments. They have to take account of the local circumstances. There's no hard and fast rule, and so I will not answer the question by agreeing with your statement. I'm just saying that...
But they say they followed your advice.
That's for them.
So this is why a lot of people blame the WHO, is because governments put it on you. And
of course. But WHO is owned by 194 governments, and there will be some who don't agree with others, and that's normal.
And there's some countries like Switzerland, we're here now in Switzerland, and they never really had any COVID restrictions, and it's pretty free here.
Yeah.
Do you think it's a bit ironic that they're holding the World Health Organization in Geneva and discussing the pandemic treaty in the one place that didn't really have the kind of response that the WHO was pushing?
WHO did not push for people to use lockdown as the primary means of control. WHO says that what you do with a disease like COVID...
So do you think Switzerland got it right?
No, I'm not saying whether they got it right or wrong. I'm just telling you... I'll stop now because you're asking me quite aggressive questions.
Well, I think
and I didn't ask to be interviewed. This is an interview done against my approval.
The vaccination is also... the vaccine...
If this interview
people are force vaccinated, do you think that's okay? That's against their will, and that's WHO pushed the vaccine.
I have never called for forced vaccination myself. Do you realise?
Do you think that they should drop those mandates around the world?
I have said mandates. I've said vaccination mandates are really a last resort. You know.
What resort? At what point should you ever force somebody to have a vaccine? Any resort?
I would personally never want anything mandated. You see, you can't.
Why is that not the WHO official position?
I am not giving the WHO official position. Gosh, you're an aggressive interviewer. But I'm still entertaining you. I hope viewers can understand, and I hope this is not cut out, that I've been ambushed in the street, and I'm responding to this gentleman's, I don't even know his name.
Avi Yemini.
I'm responding to his questions because I believe that it is my duty to attempt to communicate.
I appreciate that. I don't mean to be.
Strange.
We're just running fast, so that's why I get it.
I'm late for a meeting.
All right, you can go to the meeting. I guess. What would you say to people watching this who do blame your organisation?
Well, inevitably the pandemic.
Not just poor people, though.
No, everybody. The pandemic has been horrible, and you have to find somebody to blame. But quite honestly, I've worked as an envoy for WHO. And I personally do not think WHO has made consistent errors in this. I think that inevitably, when we look backwards, there will always be points where we say we should have done different. This has been so horrible. And it's, by the way, the pandemic's not finished. It's still going on.
So those words will scare people because they're thinking we're just getting back to life, and you're telling us from the WHO it's not over. But most of us had COVID.
Go to China. Go to North Korea.
Speaking of China, though, in the beginning of the pandemic...
There's still a pandemic going on in China. There's still a pandemic in North Korea.
How are we supposed to trust anything happening in China? They lied to us from the beginning. The WHO covered up for them in the beginning.
You see, that again, that style of questioning...
That's what most of the world believes because we experienced it and we all suffered. In Melbourne, Australia, we were locked down for a year and a half.
But I just have to tell you, I don't think... I personally can't see that WHO should be blamed for this pandemic.
Well, if the responsibility doesn't lie with them, then why should they hold any authority?
Well, I think you have to remember that WHO is an organisation that exists, owned by 194 countries, and all it tries to do is to offer the best advice it can to everybody, but it's up to individual countries to decide whether to follow it. You have to let me go.
Does it sometimes get it wrong?
Well, I mean, I'm sorry. I'm not actually going to say any answer to that question because there's been great reviews done of WHO.
I guess last question. I asked that because big tech that are here, they rely on you. So if somebody says something online that contradicts what you're saying, what the WHO says, they get banned from social media.
Yeah, so I am not. Do you know I don't work for WHO? I'm an envoy on behalf of WHO.
Okay.
And I try to
so you're distancing yourself from them?
No, I'm not distancing myself. It's just that you are asking questions that I can't answer.
All right. Thank you for your time. I apologize.
And I would like to say to those of you who are watching this, you know, I would be very happy to be interviewed normally about this.
Can I get a card?
To be ambushed. I don't have any cards left.
David, where can I catch you to continue this interview?
Let me just write it down.
If you think it's important for the world to hear what these dictators of health, the people who want to control whichever country you come from, if you want to hear from them unscripted, make sure to like, comment. Most importantly, share this far and wide because the mainstream media, they'll never ambush these tyrants, but we will at Rebel News. And it's up to you guys. Share all our stories from this week at wefreports.com. Share them far and wide because this kind of reporting you will get nowhere else.